Now, okay. This first quick lesson is just on how you deal with currency conversion. So I've decided to limit you to just Australian dollars or US dollars. If you're doing Australian dollars, you don't need to convert anything. If you're doing US dollars because you want to do more interesting conjectures, that's not recorded, so it's fine. What? If you wanted to do more interesting conjectures, there's more interesting companies on this US stock market. That's why I want you to have the option to do USD. So this is important because you're being given 60 grand in Australian dollars to pretend to purchase your portfolios. That's across 6 companies. So how much do you have per company? 10 grand. Why do you want each company to have the same amount? Because in science, we want only one variable. The only variable in this experiment is the different portfolios, the airlines versus mining. So everything should be as same as possible, okay? So the easiest way to deal with this is work out what $10,000 Australian is in US dollars. Using the prices in US dollars shown in Yahoo Finance, do buying calculations to get a total cost of buying that is not more than $10,000 converted to USD. Once you've done the one conversion at the start, all of your maths is going to be in USD. Find the cost of buying in USD. Find the break-even price. You can do everything in US dollars. The only time that you need to convert back is when you're making your conclusion, telling me which portfolio did better. When you make your conclusion and talk about the results, you should convert back to Australian dollars. The main talking points will refer to your income from capital gains and dividends. So you only actually need to convert these things back to Australian dollars. The capital gains after tax, which I've already taught. Dividends after tax, I have not taught yet because I want you to start the DO. Okay, so this is a quick example. I searched up the Australian dollars to US dollars conversion rate on the 10th, so 4 days ago. This tells you that 1 Australian dollar is 65.26 US cents. So if I want to work out how many US dollars 10 grand Australian is, I grab my calculator, I go 10,000 times by 0.6526. So that is $6,526 US. So when I buy my shares in a company, the total cost of buying should not be more than that. Does that make sense to people? Okay? And then all of your maths from then on is just going to be using that money. Thus, if I'm purchasing shares in US dollars, I can't exceed 6,526 for the total cost of buying. Considering brokerage and GST allows me to work out the number of shares I can buy in each company. The rest of the DI maths can be done in US dollars. Once all the maths is done, I'm analyzing the results to say which portfolio did better. I care about capital gains. I care about dividends. If that was done in US dollars, I need to convert back to Australian. So how do I do that? I find the inverse of the conversion rate, the opposite of the conversion. So 1, I get that same conversion number, but I go 1 divided by 0.6526. What is this telling me? This is telling me that 1 US dollar is equivalent to $1.53 Australian dollars. So if I'm converting US money back to Australian, what happens to it? Does it get bigger or does it get smaller? Bigger. Just bigger, because this 1.53 is larger than 1. So I'm just going to 1 point. Can someone remember what that was? 1.53 was it? This will convert the US dollars back to AUD. So if I pretend one of my portfolios made $5,000 US capital gain after tax and $500 USD in dividends after tax, how do I convert it back to Australian dollars? So let's say my portfolio made 5 grand. I'm going to times that by 1.53. If I made dividends of $500, I'm going to times that by 1.53. And that's going to spit out 5 grand times by 1.53, 76.50. So that 5 grand in US dollars is actually 76.50 Australian dollars. Okay, and then 500 times by 1.53 should be 765 Australian dollars in dividends. So hopefully this is showing you that, yes, if you do American dollars, You do have to do extra work, but how much extra work? 2 extra calculations per company. Okay, I'll stop the video there.